Quake should need no introduction, but it's one of those games that tends to be forgotten. When it comes to boomer shooters, you probably think of Doom or Wolfenstein, right? Yeah, me too. But Quake was actually a big deal in gaming history. It changed the way we looked at gaming, literally. It's now 25 years later, and this cult classic has been beautified and re-released for the modern gaming appetite. But is it really still worth playing after all these years? And more importantly, is Quake even fun as a co-op game? Nightdive Studios remastered this id Software classic, and they did a killer job. Having something for both die-hard fans and newcomers alike, this Enhanced Quake is loaded with a ton of improvements and extra content to play with. It has support for 4K and widescreen, improved lighting, depth of field, and something called anti-aliasing. I don't know what that is, but pretty much they added a bunch of things to make the game look better, and it shows. The levels, the monsters, everything looks really, really good. Instead of the gritty, pixelated textures, you can now see details like teeth and armor. I was impressed.
The remaster also includes the original soundtrack and theme song by Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails. But it's not music, it's just soundscapes. So if you're hoping to rock out like it's Doom, it's not going to happen. Instead, get in some good ASMR time with the soothing sounds of Trent Reznor dying. On top of all of these goodies, there is a ton of additional content. Beside the original vanilla campaign, there's access to 4 other expansions, one of which is brand spanking new. So, there's a lot to sink your teeth into here. The expansions are really where it's at. There are new weapons and ammo types to try, new monsters to kill, and the puzzles and platforming sections, they're made with a little bit more love. Plus, they give you lava nails and multi-grenades, so this should be a no-brainer.
In addition to PC, Quake is pretty much available on every console now, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding it. It's everywhere, including Game Pass. If you already own a copy on Steam or Bethesda Launcher, you can now download the enhanced version for free. And if you're going to purchase the game new, it's only $10, so that's pretty cool. The best part about this makeover is that you can now co-op Quake. Up to 4-player split screen or 4 players online with cross-play support. It's the first time Quake will have campaign co-op, online or local. And that's a pretty huge deal. To see all these iconic gems resurrected in the spirit of co-op is just really freaking awesome.
Now, booting up the game tosses you right into some frantic gameplay footage. No cutscenes, no intros, no bullshit. Right away, we knew it would be an eyes-watering because you can't blink kind of game like its cousin Doom. But instead of Keiko demons and Hellfire, expect Gothic horror with Lovecraftian monsters and dingy medieval scenery. So great. There's supposed to be a story here, but we had to look it up. Wikipedia tells us that Quake is actually the super secret code name for this guy. This Quake dude teleports tons of monsters to our world to F us up. That's where you come in. You play a dude named Ranger who, by the way, has an extensive collection of color-coded camo. Well, he travels to other dimensions to collect magic runes because magic runes save the world. Duh.
What you see here is what you get. You pretty much have a bunch of levels where you kill monsters, solve puzzles, and find keys to open doors to more levels where you kill monsters, solve puzzles, and find keys. With no upgrades or progression, it can get pretty repetitive after a while. When you start a new game, you'll choose your difficulty like this, with hard demanding a little light lava jumping right before entering. And if you're not satisfied with that, there's also a 4th difficulty called Nightmare, which is guaranteed to just be ridiculous. So if you hate yourself enough and want to give this one a try, you'll have to do a little bit of searching. This one's hidden, and probably for a reason. One thing to note here, Co-op campaigns are playable as separate selectable missions. You choose your difficulty, other settings, and go, but if you want to start at the beginning, the portal room, well, whatever portal you or your partner choose last, that's the difficulty you'll both get. Let me explain. So let's say we select easy in the menu, and when we get there, Ryan jumps in easy. But then I jump in hard. The difficulty will be hard, not easy. Not so hard, right?
Remember when we said that this game was so fast you can't blink? It's actually on purpose. With the default set to always run, your first time will be crazy, chaotic, fever-pitched. If you're not used to this kind of gameplay, you might even get a little motion sick like Jackie did.
I'm gonna throw up.
On the other hand, fast feet help you dodge danger in tight spots. Being able to book it from enemies like fiends is a must. And darting ahead to steal health from your partner is also a plus. Speed's a double-edged sword in this game. It'll save you in a firefight or send you hurtling over a cliff. But once you figure out your playstyle, it's all gravy from there. Shutting off the always run default, that's a good way to get yourself used to Quake and control your pace. As you spend more time playing, you'll actually find yourself running more and more anyway. Eventually, you'll have mastered Ranger's speed just like any other mechanic.
And speaking of mechanics, let's talk combat. This is obviously an id Software game. It's extreme level boomer shooter badassery in the most insane sense. Blasting your enemies away with 9-inch nails and multi-rockets is super addictive, and holding down the trigger makes it that much more satisfying. Until you empty out your whole clip like a dumbass. With a variety of weapons scattered throughout the game, combat is never boring. And with the limited ammo types, you'll be forced to try each one, including this beefy taser gun. Even the starting shotgun is just fabulous. Where else do you get a sniping shotgun? The combat looked and felt great, especially for a game this old. The speed and auto-fire make the gameplay smooth and responsive. And with aim assist on by default, you just feel like an absolute boss. There's just no other words to describe it.
Now, the difficulty you choose will obviously affect this since it has a big impact on enemy density and toughness. Harder difficulty means more and badder enemies. But for us, hard had just the right balance to make each encounter challenging but satisfying. Even the developers recommend this difficulty, and I agree when it comes to co-op. See, we tried this one single player, and hard was pretty friggin' hard just by myself. Dying in single player means starting the mission over from scratch, puzzles resetting and everything. But if you play co-op, you respawn at the beginning of the level with your progress saved, as long as someone's alive. It gives you the chance to play harder levels without erasing all your hard work in between deaths. Most of the fun comes from playing the harder levels anyway. Who doesn't like biting off just a bit more than they can chew?
But it wasn't all gore and explosions, not by a long shot. Expect to be switch flipping, pit jumping, and trap dodging to find keys, because what's really at Quake's heart is a puzzle box. And some of it can be tricky. Most of the switches aren't eye level, so you'll really rely on your legs and your shotgun to help you unlock certain areas. All the puzzles are doable though, like we never felt stuck enough that we had to look it up or anything. Eventually, you'll crack it. You'll probably have the level memorized from all the dying and the respawning, but it's not as bad as you think. You can recover all your stuff from your backpack by your corpse, unless your partner steals it.
Leave my thing alone, leave my thing alone, leave my thing alone. Oh, you stole all my stuff. If you're looking for more of a challenge and some extra goodies in the process, secrets, they're where it's at. They're tough, and a lot of the time, you'll probably only uncover a few. They are worth it though. It can be an absolute godsend when you accidentally shoot a wall and reveal a hidden room stuffed with body armor and ammo when you need it most. Quake actively manages your stress so that this game isn't just a bundle of raw nerves. Striking a pretty good balance between combat and exploration is what keeps things interesting. But even though there are decently long stretches of platform puzzle solving, don't get too relaxed. Enemies may still drop in to ambush you when you flip a switch or open up a new area, injecting a little tension and excitement into the game.
And now for the important stuff. What's it like to co-op Quake? Is P2 just another bolted-on P1? Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. In fact, I wouldn't really call this one cooperative. It was more of a co-opetition.
Baby, what the
Whether split screen or online co-op, you'll wind up competing for ammo, health, and armor, even if you don't mean to. And if it's been a while since you've seen an enemy, and one suddenly spawns, you might even find yourself sprinting past your pal to take it out first. It's just that kind of game where you want to speed kill everything. Since Quake was originally designed from the perspective of a single player, you'll find the areas to be a little bit crowded in co-op. Tight hallways are a neat trick to make gunfights easier, but try that with a partner or two, and one of you is definitely going to be the meat in a bullet sandwich. You could disable friendly fire in the settings so you don't take damage, but you'll still get pushed around when your friend shoots you. And if you're not in the way, you're trying to play catch-up. You'll start the levels in sync, but the first time someone dies, it'll create a gap, and sometimes you'll struggle to reconnect, especially if you get tripped up on a pit, or a moat, or a trap. But the benefit to all this is that the progress is saved, and your partner can continue unlocking the level while you recover your dignity, so you don't lose time. This is probably as cooperative as the game gets. You'll probably miss out on some puzzles and enemies, but when you come across a super tough area, it really makes a difference to have a helping hand. There doesn't appear to be anything different in co-op, like additional enemies or ammo, but nothing really needs to be changed there either. Except for maybe a few things, like how you can't save your progress for local or online co-op, or more importantly, how color selection for anyone other than player one is a 4-step process. Start a game, choose your color, and restart.
Despite all that, we can't deny that Quake's campaign co-op is crazy amounts of fun. But it's because you're playing with other people that makes the game more exciting and unpredictable. So it's amazing to finally see classics like this remastered into a more modern and co-op inclusive game, giving people like us a chance to play together, even if it's just 2v1s. And that's really the point here. You see, Quake is a fantastic game, all on its own. And although adding co-op didn't bring anything new to the table, it didn't really need to. Just being able to play an iconic first-person shooter like this with the people you love or like is really where most of the fun and appeal comes from. Quake is not about being a great co-op game. It's just a great game. And sometimes you just want to play a great game with someone else.
So for anyone considering co-oping this one, local or online, it's worth giving a try, especially if you have Game Pass or even the original on Steam. If you're someone who's into retro-style shooters, this one's right up your alley. And for those who like the newer Dooms like Eternal, you'll find that Quake is actually much more like them than you think. But what do you think? Do you like co-oping Quake? Let us know in the comments below, and if you like the content and want us to make more, a couple clicks will help us grow. Thanks for watching. Bye! Wait.